Hey, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Hope you're having a fantastic day. As always, shout out to the 19. So, folks, just yesterday, November 13th, on an episode of the Locked On Women's Basketball podcast, they had Indiana Fever president of basketball business operations, Kelly Krauskopf, and she talked about bringing back Kelsey Mitchell and how she felt that that was an absolute priority. As we all know, Kelsey Mitchell is going to be an unrestricted free agent this offseason, and the Fever, one of their top priorities is to bring her back for 2025. Kelly said that she is our number one priority and that they have the opportunity to core her, and it would be sort of irresponsible for me, this is Kelly speaking, obviously, if we didn't utilize that opportunity. So let's take a brief listen as to what she said, talking about Kelsey Mitchell, bringing her back, what that means for the Fever going forward, and get into a little of what that roster might look like next season.
Continuing in the vision of where you guys are and where you're going.
Yeah, I think honestly, most players who are unrestricted free agents are most likely looking at 1-year deals. So that's not unusual, and it certainly doesn't change our opinion of how important Kelsey is and how important she is to returning to this team. So that she's our number one priority. Yes, we do have the opportunity to core her, and it would be sort of irresponsible of me if we didn't utilize that opportunity.
Right.
So, going beyond that, I can't speak to that because I don't know what the future is.
Okay, so you heard her kind of say what I quoted there a little bit, that it would be irresponsible for them to not core Kelsey Mitchell. So that mean I've talked about this before for a lot of people who are much more familiar with, say, the NFL, where you can put a franchise tag on a free agent, which means, of course, you sign them to a certain type of 1-year deal. And coring a player in the WNBA is very similar, although there are some differences. For example, they do get an offer of it's automatically a 1-year deal. It's automatically a supermax offer per the terms of the WNBA's active collective bargaining agreement, which of course we also know is opted out of. It's still on now, so this may change. But for now, with Kelsey Mitchell for 2025, the WNBA supermax is $249,244. A player can actually be cored twice in their career, but that's it. And Kelsey Mitchell has never been cored yet. She has not received the core designation to this point. Look, Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston, they're under contract through 2025, so there's no need to core either one of them. So for me, and based on what Kelly said there, I would be shocked if Kelsey Mitchell did not get cored by the Indiana Fever and be brought back. And then, look, everything's going to change after that anyway, because going into the next season, there's going to have to be a new CBA worked out. So, one of the way Kelly framed it also later on in this is that said, I think it's more of an honor talking about being cored. If I'm a player, then they think I'm important enough that I'm tagged the franchise player. Hey, look, she even used the NFL terminology. That's the way I would look at it, because those don't come around very often. And when you have an opportunity to do that, you want to see it on your most important player. Kelsey Mitchell is that for us. The Clark Mitchell backcourt is about as lethal as you can get. And we need another year to see just how much damage those two can do in the backcourt to go even further. And I would say 100% to that. 100%. I mean, look, Kelsey Mitchell was hurt to start the season. Obviously, we all know a lot of the issues going on with that team and trying to figure out how to play with Caitlin Clark and trying to fit her and the team as they learn to play with Caitlin Clark into the system Christy Sides wanted, which didn't work for anybody. It was completely contradictory to how to play effectively with Caitlin Clark. But I think as you saw the team doing that more and more as the season went, I think you saw a team that was starting to enjoy playing together, starting to see how Caitlin Clark on the team benefited everyone else. I think Kelsey Mitchell became happier and happier as the season went on. I don't have any trouble saying that I think Kelsey Mitchell wants to be back. Now, setting aside the core thing, look, there are plenty of times where a player wants to go back to a team, and the team may even want him, and it just can't be worked out for a lot of reasons, roster, salary cap, just all. But in this case, with the being able to core her, I have no doubt that the Fever will core Kelsey Mitchell, and Kelsey Mitchell's going to be just fine with that, getting that 1-year supermax deal and coming back. I don't think she is unhappy in Indiana. We've got, new everything coming in, and a team that really didn't start clicking until after the All-Star extended Olympic break. Now, interestingly enough, you can't core until after the expansion draft, or I guess not really a draft since it's Golden State's the only expansion team basically picking their players. So that means my understanding of this is Kelsey Mitchell will have to be one of the 6 protected players, and then they would core her after that. And that time is rapidly approaching, folks. That because the draft with Golden State is December 6th. So I have not seen a date yet, but I'm guessing somewhere toward the end of November, and we're halfway through. These teams are going to have to look, here are our 6. Who are the Fever going to protect, right? So it depends on a few factors for me. I mean, there's balancing winning now, like this immediate season. Hey, do we think we have a shot at winning this season? And do we go for that there's always that possibility of then that hurts the future, right? There's always that balancing act with winning now and being able to win in 3 or 4 years as well, or at least compete to win. Now you've also got possible free agent signings, right? I think it seems like there are going to be some players that want to play for the Indiana Fever. I mean, one of them we talk about a lot is Satu Sabali, right? I think she's indicated that she wouldn't be disappointed in going to Indiana. You've got the salary cap and things like that, and other player contracts. And I am not a salary cap expert from the WNBA. The way it's all done, no one's an expert in any of the leagues. But I'm not sure. For example, let's say they decided they're not bringing back somebody who's under contract. I don't know how that affects the salary cap. Like, does some of that contract that they would have gotten, does some of that money go against the cap? That I'm not sure, but obviously that would play into it as well. The obvious, of course, being Clark, Boston, Hull, and Mitchell. Now, I had originally added that way back right when the season ended, Dantas and Fagbenley. I'm not as sure of that for a few reasons. I think things get murky after Clark, Boston, Hull, and Mitchell. There's 4 of your 6 that have to be protected. And with Sides gone now, despite what I know a lot of you think, man, Melissa Smith's got to go. She's got to be out of town, and that's it. We're done. But that's not necessarily how the Fever look at it and how the Fever players look at it. And I guarantee you it's going to be talked about upper management with Caitlin Clark. Does Melissa Smith come back now that Christy Sides is gone? And if you all remember, and I think this was on her IG, where Melissa Smith, right after the season, she had taken off Indiana Fever on her socials. She put it back after Christy Sides was fired. And so, look, I have a huge question mark for Melissa Smith because I don't trust a player who allowed an issue with a coach like that to negatively impact her play on the court the way Melissa Smith did. But because a lot of people weren't paying attention until this year, they kind of missed out or forget how talented Melissa Smith actually is. That's something the Fever are going to have to be worked out. We can talk about it, and it's great drama for us to speculate. What about this? What about that? But that's something the Fever are going to have to work out. From a talent perspective, Melissa Smith would absolutely be a player you protect. But with everything else that's going on, do they? I think if Christy Sides was still there, they don't. Now I'm not so sure. And then, of course, you have age and injuries. So do they protect players like Fagbenley and Dantas? And, of course, if they protect Smith, they can't even protect both Fagbenley and Dantas. But let's say, so maybe you protect one and you cross the fingers that Golden State's not going to select them. Or at least not both of them, right? If you left them both unprotected, Golden State, you think, okay, they're not going to pick both of them. Now, at this point, I think they have to protect Grace Berger. I think Grace Berger needs to be given the keys to the backup point guard position next season and see how it goes. You need to find out. Christy Sides did the girl dirty this season by just benching her, the whole Christy Wallace nonsense, and it was just an absolute disaster. Grace Berger can play. She's playing well overseas. She played well last season in her limited minutes. So I think you have to protect Berger. So that's Clark, Boston Hull, Mitchell, Berger. Man. And again, it could be Melissa Smith now with Christy Sides gone. And that would be your 6. But I don't know. I think that's going to be really interesting to see when that comes out. Who do the Fever protect? Because then I'm sure they're also have in their mind, they've got to balance like, okay, who are the free agents we're going after? Who is most likely that we can sign to actually come to Indiana? How does that impact the rest of the roster? Unfortunately, they've got to do the protection players for Golden State before the free agency stuff. So they're going to have to figure that out. But look, it sounds very clear like the Indiana Fever and Kelly want to bring back Kelsey Mitchell. I don't think Kelsey Mitchell has a problem being cored to sign that 1-year deal at all, especially against, like I think Kelly mentioned, I don't think any of these free agents are signing more than a 1-year deal anyway because of the collective bargaining agreement. So let's see what the Fever can do with Kelsey Mitchell and Caitlin Clark having had this full season together now, going into the season with their feet on the ground, running and in gear and ready to play ball, knowing how to play together. I think that's going to be fun to watch. It's going to be interesting to see where things happen with the rest of the roster and who they protect and who they don't, and who they don't protect, and then also maybe don't even bring back next season as well. So we'll see, but I think Kelsey Mitchell is definitely going to be here. Again, for me, setting aside, look, I'm going to set aside the Melissa Smith thing. From a talent perspective, it's not like even something to think about as far as protecting her. But with everything else, so let's set aside Melissa Smith. Clark, Boston, Hull, Mitchell, Berger, man, and then I love Tammy Fig-Bentley. I think she's great for Caitlin. I think she was phenomenal early in the season. And then the injuries, man, those injuries, that bothers me. I don't know. But Dantas not exactly injury free, right? That's why she missed a lot of time. And then they brought her in and got rid of Celeste Taylor, huge mistake. So, man, at this point, I'm thinking it's Clark, Boston, Hull, Mitchell, Berger, and I'm flipping a coin on Fig-Bentley or Dantas. And of course, if they decide they can work things out with Melissa, there's your 6. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Are you happy if they bring Kelsey Mitchell back? I think most Fever fans are. Who are your 6 now? Now that we've had this time with the offseason and everything, and who is your 6? And it's okay to say, well, from a talent perspective, it's Melissa Smith, but I'm going to kind of set that aside, and here's who else. But if they work it out, obviously, Smith, getting rid of Sides kind of made the whole Melissa Smith thing take on a whole new angle there. But anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks so much for checking this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will talk to you later.